Samson. It's the latest and most fully featured competition stock from Foundation. In this video, we'll take a look at this stock from the inside out, explore its unique design features, accessories, adjustments, go shoot it in the field, and as a bonus, talk about our complete Samson rifle build as a part of this process. Gavin, you here from UltimateReloader.com. We're back with John Kyle Truitt, the owner of Foundation Stocks. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
John
great
Kyle.
to be here, Gavin. Thanks for having me.
Always a good time. We have fun when we're shooting together. This is a complete 6.5 Creedmoor rifle that I built with a Samson stock, and that's the subject of this video. Tell us, what is Samson and who is it for?
Yeah, so the Samson stock is the latest in our competition lineup of stocks. So we built upon our heritage with our micarta, fully micarta stocks. We've added the Samson stock, which is going to allow people tunability on their weights. It's going to allow them increased ergonomics here, adjustability on the butt pad, different action inlets, short, medium, long, as well as just an overall better performing competition stock.
Yeah, and the first thing I noticed when I saw it was this has a completely different vibe visually as well.
Sure, it does.
You know, these inset panels and where you attach the weights, the weight kit itself, like especially with the brass, totally. I knew I had to have one, and I was super excited. I envisioned this gold barrel and everything the very first time I saw this, and it was really fun to shoot it today. But before we get into all of that,
sure, let's
talk about why Samson and kind of how did this happen as an extension of the previous work that you've done with competition stocks? Like what was the evolution of this?
Sure.
Who did you listen to? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So one thing that we believe is a strength for a company is that we're very involved in the sport in which our stocks are used. So primarily in the PRS type of shooting world is where you see quite a few of the foundations. And so Amy and I, along with all our kiddos, which is 6 by now, so another one since I was here last, we traveled to quite a few matches. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're efficient. We make stocks and babies.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
But we traveled to quite a few matches. So we typically make 15 to 18 2 days a year. And there's some other events as well. And so we're consistently in the heat of it, if you will. So that is getting more and more difficult with the kiddos. We had to get a bigger vehicle, but we are doing that. And so what that allows us to do is allows us to hear on the ground and both hear it and also experience it, because I shoot pretty much all those matches. My kiddos shoot as well. And so we're able to listen to that. We're able to see where an advantage may be added. We try to take that back and apply it to what we're doing at the shop. And so that's really where the Samson came to be, is listening to the feedback and taking that and incorporating into our product.
So how much of those design and feature change ideas were yours from your own personal shooting, and how much of that was from what you observed or feedback that you heard from other shooters?
Sure. Yeah, that's a little bit hard to decipher, just because we're constantly in it, listening, and as we're going back to drawing board and looking at where we can add features and where we can take the most requests that we've seen and put them into the stock. You kind of lose track of exactly where those come from. So it's a bit of a hard thing to decipher. However, I will say that traditionally I am a more traditional stock guy. So if you look at our other stocks, you're going to see that they are traditional looking stocks. This one diverges from that a little bit. You have, as you can see here, a little more, well, like you called it earlier, bling in it, which you added to with your barrel. But you have component pieces in the side, in this case brass. It could also be aluminum, as well as a bridge and different stippling on it, and different adjustability. So those features are not my first go-to, but really we're adapting, in this case, to a sport. And so the things we've added to this stock do that very well.
And speaking of very well, Worlds was what, last week?
It was last month. Yep.
Last month?
Yeah, we were in Cameo, at the Cameo Shooting Complex down in Grand Junction, Colorado. Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yes, sir.
And Samson made an appearance there.
They did? Yeah. We had quite a few shooters running the Samson along with our other stocks, and we were very fortunate to have some really good placements. Austin Bushman, who was actually the world champion 2 years ago. He won it again, and he was using a Samson stock, so that was really neat and really affirming to us on the stock itself. Obviously, the shooter is the biggest variable. There's tons of great components out there, but we were very fortunate and blessed that he was running ours. And then close behind him was Austin Orgain,
Wow.
running our Centurion. So he was in second as well. So we had lots of podium finishes there, and it's neat to see. So Amy and I were both there for the awards on that and the closing ceremonies, and that's just it's a blessing, and it's a gift to be able to see kind of the fruit of your labor come to fruition.
You come out with a stock at essentially the SHOT Show 2024, and later in 2024, you've got top podium standings. So it doesn't get any better than that.
Sure, no, it is.
Okay, so we've covered things at a high level. It's a great story. I say next we talk about the technical details.
Sounds good to me.
So why don't you give us a complete rundown of Samson from back to front, and then
Sure.
I'll talk about the build with the hammerhead action and kind of the barrel work I did, that kind of thing. So
yeah, no problem. All right, so we start at the rear of the stock, and what you're going to notice immediately is that you have an adjustable recoil pad on it. So this, we call it the ARP, the adjustable recoil pad. We're real unique with our naming here, but the ARP allows you to have movement both up and down, and also allows you to kick off at a cant side to side. So that's something that shooters had requested. We even had some shooters that would turn the recoil pad upside down or change some things. So we said, hey, let's make that look a little classier.
Yep.
So that's what we have here on the rear.
I love that, because when I'm shooting prone, I often like to get a little rise going.
Sure.
To get it at the right spot on my shoulder, and that totally addresses that, which is good.
Yep. That's something that we'd had feedback on, and we feel like that's a great solution for it. Length of pull is still adjustable by way of spacers. As you move forward, you can't see it right now, but some of the B-roll footage will probably show it. Is underneath this cheek piece, there are going to be 4 weights, and so you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, any or all of them in the rear of the stock. They're out of brass, and that's going to come with either of the kits, whether it's a brass kit or aluminum kit, which we'll explain that here in a little bit.
Okay.
You'll have brass underneath the cheek piece, so it allows you to adjust weight at the rear of the stock. Moving forward from there, the grip. So you can either get the Centurion grip, which is what you see here, the vertical grip with very close grip trigger relation, or you can get our Genesis 2 grip. So those guys coming off of our previous models, choose which grip you want to run, same as what you're running before.
Is that like a drop down when you go to order your stock off the website?
Yep,
okay.
it is. It's going to be a drop down. Hey, do I want the Centurion grip or do I want the Genesis 2 grip? And so on that grip, the only differences there is that we did add stippling on the Samson, so you have stippling, and you also have an ambidextrous thumb shelf on either one of them. So it's the same grip profile, but as it merges into the action area, you're going to see that you have 2 thumb shelves, one on each side, obviously, and that's something that people had requested. And honestly, that's one of those things that I personally wasn't too crazy about, but now that's on there and I've been running one, I like it. So it goes to show you that no one person certainly knows it all. So, so it feels really good when you're shooting it. Moving forward from there, the action area is beefed up a little bit, has a little bit more meat on it, just because the stock overall is larger, and as we're merging into this dovetail. We can come through the action area, again, like we mentioned, it can be had in a short action configuration, a long action configuration, and we'll soon be adding medium action configurations.
Okay, that's awesome.
So it's going to move into the beaver tail. Obviously, one of the most obvious things is going to be the side weights. Now, the side weights can be had in either brass or aluminum, so the difference being weight, right? So the brass is significantly heavier than the aluminum is, and you can, again, just like on the rear, you can run a combination of brass and aluminum. You can choose which ones you want to run, which ones you don't want to run, and that way it gives you that adaptability on your.
So you don't have to take the weight completely out and have a gaping hole. You can
Correct.
fill it with a much lighter material. Aluminum.
Correct. Yes.
Love it.
Yes, correct. So you can fill that. You can choose either aluminum or brass for that. As you move forward from there, you're going to notice that we have a forward assist bridge. This is for those shooters who would use their weak hand, which I believe you do. At watching you shoot, you tend to reach forward with your weak arm.
I kind of thumb shelf the forend on the top typically, but now that I have this, I'm going to experiment with that a little bit.
Sure, and that there's some guys who will come forward and they'll actually influence their barrel. They'll put a little.
You don't want to touch the barrel.
You don't want to touch barrel typically. No. And so this, for those guys that do want to go up there and gorilla grip it, you've got something you can gorilla grip and not be touching on your barrel. So that's there. Underneath, you're going to see there's 6 weights as well. So similar weights back here. They bolt in. You can take them out, put them in, but again, it allows you to have that balance point that you need depending on what barrel you're running, depending on what can you're running. It just allows you to fine tune that balance. The Arca rail as well. So this is going to be standard on it. What you don't see on this is that this Arca rail, being out of all brass, is also filling up a cavity here with the entry rail.
It's massive. This is like a massive Arca rail.
It is.
In terms of weight, which is awesome. I'm a heavy rifle guy, so this is like right down my alley. I've talked to PRS shooters that are shooting .223 AI, and they still have a 26-pound rifle.
Sure.
Right? You don't want it to move.
Yep. In fact, I'm fixing to head off on elk hunt, and the gentleman I'm going with is typically shoots Magnum cartridges, and he doesn't really play the PRS game, if you will. And he was commenting that it's gonna be nice to go with somebody who's pretty proficient and make a shot. And I said, you better wait till see if I can handle recoil, because it's been a while since I've had to shoot anything with recoil. So
6BR
with a 25-pound rifle doesn't do much for you. But
no, but I love how that fits in and how it fills the space, and it puts a lot of weight in a neutral balance point kind of area.
It does. And again, that can be had in aluminum as well. So if you want to drop 3 pounds, let's change it out to aluminum for you. The other thing as you move forward is you're going to notice, we don't have it on this stock, but you're going to notice some dimple points here. You can add another additional pound of weight there. It's a 2-piece system, so you can add 1 for half a pound, 2 for a pound. Pretty easy math there, and it just bolts in from the bottom. So that's something where you don't have to remove anything to adjust just that. It just goes between the barrel and the Arc-A-Rel, and that's also on the aluminum one as well. So if you want to run lighter on the aluminum, but you want that weight farther forward, you can do that as well. So we know that the extremes of the rifle is what obviously affects your balance the most. So you have an extreme point here that you can add weight. You can add weight back here as well. I guess really the only other thing that we didn't mention is we have serrations up here on the front as well, and with this scope, you'd be limited how far back you can move this bridge, but you can move the bridge at different locations. The other thing that's nice about that flat up there is for people like you. For you people, if you put your
generous
thumb up there,
shelf,
a generous thumb shelf.
So, I love it.
Yeah.
And like the other stocks that we've talked about, M5 bottom metal cut.
Yeah, for most of them, we can cut different bottom metal cuts. Now, our bottom metal cuts are very specific, like you've seen in your build. So when we say, generally people will say M5, and that'll cover all the M5 bottom metals out there. For us, we need to know which manufacturer you're talking about, because there is a difference in corner radiuses and mag box. And so,
and when they slide in, it's a friction fit. It's like
it's
held tightly.
It is. Yeah. we like things that go together like they should, or like we feel they should. So that is. So this is a cut for a Hawkins M5, not just any M5, but specifically for Hawkins. We do inlet for other ones. We just have to know that when we're building it, what you want to cut for.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's an awesome overview of the stock itself. As a complete rifle, I did a build using bat hammerhead action, and I decided to go 6.5 Creedmoor.
Sure. Yep.
Because I had some barrel blanks coming from Bug Holes, and they have these really nice 4-groove barrel blanks. This is 1 and 8 MTU, I believe, and this was a part of my evaluation of like how well can these barrels shoot and whatnot. So I got the barrel using the Precision Matthews PM1440 HVT2, which is the variable speed lathe. I think I showed that to you. And just really delightful. Actually, now that I have variable speed, it's hard to kind of build on anything else, you know. Really smooth build this time. What really surprised me was I got the breech end of the barrel dialed in, and I got 1 point running perfectly true, just, pretty quickly. And then I put the indicator, another inch in, and it was running perfectly true. I didn't have to angle the barrel. And I had started with an indication on both ends to get it pre-dialed. And so, whatever they were doing when they drilled that barrel blank, really, really straight and true. And then, of course, 5/8 24 muzzle threading, standard job, cut to 26 inches, So this is kind of the same formula that I've used on the custom rifles that I've shipped with Foundation Genesis 2 stocks. And I had to top it off with the gold Cerakote. So
you did. I walked in the shop and it was hanging in the paint booth, and I said, that'll go well together. So
a few coats of Cerakote, threw it in the oven, and everything came together well. What really surprised me about this was usually I get a little discoloring on the little crush down, little shine marks from the tightening of the barrel, but this time I don't know how it was different. It just didn't discolor at all. Engraving, put everything together. Everything went together, really nice. The rifle didn't take much, to get zeroed, and overall, I think this rifle would really fit the bill for a lot of different competitive type things, where you want that little bit heavier bullet, higher BC, a little bit less wind influence, but you got to take the hit with a little bit more recoil as well. So.
Yeah, and you're seeing that. Honestly, we've seen a shift to quite a few more 6.5s, and again, speaking specifically to the PRS game lately. In fact, I'd be curious to know here in here in a week and a half we have the finale. And it's going to be held up in Snake River, Idaho. I would say that we're going to see quite a few 6.5s there, just because of the venue, over your BRs or your Dashers, or possibly even your GTs. But one thing that you notice, and like we saw today when we were shooting a 6.5, but because of how it's built out and because of the weight, that recoil doesn't really come into play. I mean, you're watching everything you need to watch.
Yeah, we could see trace and, all that. Let's talk real quick about the shooting that we did. So we sighted the rifle in at 100 yards. And again, that was a fast process. Shot a few groups to really get a good zero and to get a velocity.
Sure.
At that point, we went up to the ridgeline range. And this was kind of a big seasonal milestone, right? We had enough rain this week and we had enough dew this morning. It was cold enough out. First time in a long time, the whole summer, that we've been able to shoot our long-range steel targets from DM targets, which was just absolutely awesome. But what really surprised me about our shooting up there was just how spot on everything was.
It ran out really well. Okay, usually you're going to have to, like we all do, get our dope, make sure that everything lines out, tweak some numbers. But what was our farthest shot? We ran it out to
1390.
1390 with first round
and
impact.
You had a first round impact. Nice work, man. Yeah, Harold the Rock Chuck.
There you go. And so it just lined out. It was super simple, no drama.
Then we did 660 and 700. I think I had 3 in a row on 700 and 3 in a row, I think, at 660.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of wind, so it wasn't overly difficult, but man, what a good feeling.
Yep. It's nice when it all lines out. So, and it did today. So,
yeah.
And I'll be honest, on that 1300 or whatever the
1390.
1390.
Yeah.
I will say that I know we're always should expect to hit a target, but we'll say just going off what data we had on the rifle, I figured I'd have to make a correction.
Right.
But we didn't. So
no, that was super stellar. So all in all, I'm super happy with this, and I'm really pumped to have this rifle in the shop now. And I think what I want to do next with it is do some load development, because we had 2 loads. The factory ammo shot okay, and then the hand loads shot even a little bit better, but we didn't have really enough of that ammo to really just go to town with it today.
Right, they shot well, but it was just, I think, just what you had. We had a little bit of vertical in it. I think it could definitely tighten up.
Yeah,
with a little bit of development, because again, it was fast and nasty. But then again, 1390 is a pretty good testament. So you might not want to change it too much. Use it as a pretty good baseline.
Yep. This is the Element Nexus Gen 2 that also rounded up the picture well, as well as the Maverick suppressor. So again, I want to thank you for coming out and spending time with me and really kind of going through this with me in the field.
Sure. And
now in front of the camera, with the audience. In conclusion, people can go to foundationstocks.com and order one today. Is that correct?
Yep, they can. They can jump on there and you can go through, spec it all out. There'll be drop downs for you. You can also look at several of our partners who keep them in stock as best they can, and who consistently have them on order. So they're available today. Grab one.
Yeah, and you're not going to go wrong with the other Foundation stocks too, like Centurion, Genesis 2.
Oh, absolutely.
We've done complete videos on those, and if you just like something a little bit more simple, I'm sold on the Micarta concept, and stocks are kind of my native environment for rifle systems and all that. I shoot chassis, I like them for different reasons, but there's something about a stock that feels really grounded and really just solid and immovable. And the way that the recoil propagates through Micarta is also super interesting. I do want to tell people though about our next video.
Sure, yeah.
So another new stock this year, and one that's been on the market more recently, is Gideon. Do you want to give people a quick preview of what Gideon is?
Sure, yep. So we're going to be talking about a totally new line for us. So it's been several years in the making. It's actually a hybrid stock. We brought in some other materials, and it's something that we're pretty excited to tell you guys about.
Yep. So if you like the idea of a lightweight hunting stock that has the same general heritage and foundation as this stock, pun intended, you're going to definitely want to check out that video. And the results that we got with this rifle are pretty amazing. So I'm very excited to share that with you all. Thanks again, John Kyle, for coming out.
Yep, thanks for having me.
This has been super. What we'd like to know is, what do you think of Samson? Is this the kind of stock that you'd want to run in competition? And if you did, What color would you get it in? You can get it in what? Natural, this is the black?
Yep, there's five options. You've got your black micarta, you have a natural, you have a dark, you have a coyote, and a dark distress. So all those finishes can be seen on our website. Check them out. They all look great in their own right. Just whatever suits your fancy.
So yeah, tell us what finish. Would you go with aluminum or brass? And what kind of action would you be putting in it? What kind of bottom metal? What kind of chambering? Tell us about your ideal competitive rifle rig and what would you do if you had a Samson? Are you running a different foundation stock? Tell us about that. Drop a comment and we'll join you down there in the comments section. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. Thanks again for watching.